Hello? There we go. All right. What's up? Hey. Hi. Hello. Everyone, how's it going? Just loading this up, starting the stream, about to get going. Making sure everything's working. Mic's working. Good. All right. Mic's working. I think I can hear myself. All right. Anyways, let's go. All right. So, got another unit, of course. Let me turn this down. So we got this unit right here. Came in, returned, probably broken somehow. We're just going to troubleshoot this one real quick, see what the issues are, and then how we can fix it, and what your options are when it comes to these kind of issues. So this is, I don't know what's wrong with it. There might be nothing wrong with this. And if there's nothing wrong with it, great. But we'll find out what's wrong with it shortly, because it was returned within the 30-day window, whatever Amazon's policy is. So we'll open this up and we'll see what it is. But first we should start it. So usually they keep all the stuff here. It has been used a few times because the trier and all that kind of stuff looks used. But that they definitely went through using it. So I guess we'll see what the issue is, how we can fix it. There we go. Anyways, so what I'll do is I'll turn this on and get an idea of what the problem is and where the problem lies. My guess, it's gonna be, my best guess, it's gonna be lamp. Always go for lamp. Or E1. E1's another common one that you'll see. That means like if the probe is bad. So sometimes that's one of it. And we'll switch to this camera. We'll plug it in and we'll kind of see what the issue is. Okay, so it's starting. That's always a good sign. Let's turn it on. Preheat. Oh yeah, that sounds like a bad drum. So it's either a bad drum or a bad drum bearing or a bad drum motor. Let's best way to figure that out is we're gonna pop it open. We'll open it from the front, and we'll open it from the back and the front. We'll take the motor off, we'll spin, we'll see what the bearings sound like, and then what the console kind of looks like if it's bad. We'll pull this off, make sure to unplug it. So yet again, we got to take all 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 18 screws or something like that. Do that real quick. So the drum is bad. So since the drum is bad, let's pull this off. I'm gonna take these 2 screws off. So another standard drum repair, drum motor repair. I'm thinking it's the drum motor. Oh, also you want to pull this out too. You want to pull this out first. Give it a nice little tug. Don't be shy about it. Loosen these ones. bottom ones out. And move this, push that to the side. You want to take these two top ones out. We'll pull these. Usually like taken out from this side. I just need to loosen it up a little bit more. Those. You want to remove the two at the bottom. Another one over here. Now, you want to remove these two at the side. That removes it from the case. Also, you want to save these ones because they're not like the other. If you lose these, you're kind of screwed. Or you can get them on Amazon. You can buy all the screws on Amazon, I think. If you have any questions, let me know. Part is rather monotonous, boring. On the plus side, you don't have to really put them all back on if you don't want to. I usually just leave these two off. But you can leave them on. I don't feel as bad as when I leave those on. Also, we gotta, since I'm gonna just add access to the controller board anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and these ones hold in the board or the coffin, electronics coffin. Okay, pull those two off. That come off to the side. You can pull this apart too. That's just a little plug holder. Good. Ooh, goodness. A little oily bit. Take the motor out. You want to know these are M4 nuts, M4 screws. If you wanted to replace these. I think they're like, I want to say they're 12 millimeters, but I'm not sure. I have to measure it. Sounds like it. Spin the drum. Smooth. So if you could spin your drum like this, still pretty good. If you don't hear, I'll put my. If you don't hear, you don't hear anything like you like have that kind of noise. That means that the bearings are pretty good still. It should spin just a little bit, not a whole bunch, but it should spin a little bit if you just put like a little spin to it. So overall, that's a good bearing. So let's go. I'm gonna just turn it on with the motor on, and then if the noise is still there, then it's pretty much a bad drum motor. I'll bring the mic down a little closer to. Oops. It's not supposed to sound like that. So definitely a bad motor. I'm gonna fix the lamp here. The lamp looks good. I think it's kind of bright, but then well, it's supposed to get dark. That doesn't look right. So the lamp looks kind of dull. It might be a sign that it's going out as well. I'm gonna get my I have a little button to put this in. Fan's working. And that's working too. Okay. All those are working. So I'm gonna turn this off. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna open that motor up and see what we're working with. I gotta get something to cut this. Grab a little scissor. Howdy, 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 howdy. Oh, okay. I'm gonna cut this little part here. This is just a zip tie. Unplug it. Let me unplug this so I don't shock myself. Okay, that looks all good. So we're gonna unplug it from the board. We'll pull this out. So usually you want to grab it by the heat sink and just kind of bring it back and forth like that. So here's the controller board. The drum is this one. So usually it's 24 volt from some power supply to the board. That's 24 volts. And this is just, this is literally just I think it has a MOSFET on it. There's open and closes it to put in like 24 volts to turn on the motor. Because it's at a constant speed of like 60 RPM or something. So we'll pull that out. So here's the motor. I'll open it up and we can kind of take a peek on probably why it's doing this. Let me just grab my fancy schmancy tools. So since I already know this motor's broken, I'm just gonna pop this open. Oh, sorry. So I'm just gonna break this thing. There's no way of fixing these. So you just really got to buy a new one. So I don't feel bad when I try to just pop these open. Go. Yes. So yet again, so I popped this open. We're gonna take a peek at it. We're gonna look at these gears. So here are the gears. I don't think I landed them over right, but maybe like this. This ain't missing a top gear. That's it. There he goes. The gear's kind of going like that. Right? So you spin it. Let me take this other piece out. Get you a little better understanding of how it works. So here's the drum motor, right? We're gonna put that, we're gonna mesh those gears together because it's without the plate. There's usually the plate that hangs along this side. So we're gonna just turn this, and it shouldn't turn. Okay. Now, can anyone take a guess why that didn't work? Bring it closer. Good. I'll mesh that gear back up. So what I'm just trying to show you is the reason why it's not working is because of this fancy little plastic gear. It got hot enough to the point where it melted, and now the gears aren't meshing. Oh, now it's good. So if it doesn't mesh well, of course the gears are gonna just move freely. But if I were to mesh them together, it won't move. As hard as I fucking try to push there. Now it won't move. That looks fine. But as soon as it gets to the flat spot, there it is. So that is why, actually, I honestly think this is a decent motor for what it does. If they would just replace this gear with something metal, it actually might fix the problem. Because even the worm drive, when it gets so hot, it dies. You really can't roast with it anymore. This one will just keep roasting until failure occurs, which is usually this gear. So let's take that gear out. Right there's the culprit. It's just the gear stripped it. That's honestly what it is. Now my hands are dirty. So that's probably one of the biggest reasons why the V1 has these motor issues. Teeth stripped, yes. The teeth, good old teeth stripped. I bring this up all the time with them. I talk to the vendors about how we should complain that just maybe investing in the same motor with the metal gear might be actually a good investment. But of course, they probably bought thousands of these, and they're more than likely getting rid of them. They are doing upgrades to the machine, to the new ones, like adding the V2 back panel on, has the fan slot in it. Now they're putting fans in it to actively cool. I should mention that it took about 1.5 years for them from complaining to now finally get like those fans installed. I don't know how much more longer they're gonna take with this. A little bump. It kind of sucks because they're pretty good roasters. Just terrible drum motor holding it back. And this is going to be same kind of issue that's within with the V2 as well. They still have a plastic tooth gear in there. There's still one in there. And that motor gets, and then when that motor gets hot, it just shuts off. This one, I'm always surprised how well this can hold up if it doesn't overheat and that gear stays fine. Like, I used to want to blame that as a QC problem, and it's honestly just a motor problem. Just by design, this thing is going to fail over time. So we just got to replace those. Do I have another motor? I might have one I could pull off of a machine. But other than that, I think this unit's gonna work. There's a few machines that are in the process of transitioning into like a different way of motor setup. But anyways, you got to buy those motors for about $18 is what they charge for now on AliExpress to get them shipped to your place. Or if you're still in good talks with your vendor, you can more than likely ask to replace it. Honestly, they should, because that's a bad design. And this is like my fifth or sixth one I've seen. So it's not uncommon. Happens all the time. People are complaining. And really, you're just nudging them towards getting the Kaleido lights. And when those Kaleido lights come in, I think they're going to be... they'll be one of the biggest reasons why people switch over to Kaleidos, because now they're going for the race to the bottom, right? They're starting to sell lower quality versions of the Kaleidos, even adding a lower quality motor in their M1 light. That's another issue. But that's up to them. For this place, they need to focus on this motor issue. They could find a decent DC brushed a brushed DC motor. They'll be fine. Let me go grab another motor. Okay. Looking for another motor. I know I have one somewhere. I think I might be actually all out of them now. I didn't anticipate replacing so many in a short amount of time. So that kind of just shows you what the issues are. I'm still looking for a motor. Motor. Okay, one more spot. Oh, look. Then we'll move on. Oh. Nope. Those are the gear drives. All right. Ooh, okay. I think I found one. Pull it off this machine. I had this ugly machine. Oh, never mind. Here we go. This one might work. I've been pulling them off certain machines that are kind of messed up, and I'm gonna try putting other motor in them to test them out. But for now, I also got I got like 10 of these specialized motors that this guy in Taiwan makes for his business selling Skywalkers. So that might be the next step. So anyways, so I took this motor out. I'm gonna test this motor first. I'm gonna plug it in. I'm unplugged. Gotta make sure I'm unplugged. I want to see what this one sounds like. Okay, that's plugged in. Let me push this motor back in. Doesn't have to be all the way in, just enough to not where it's touching the metal, because I've had a point where it's shorted. And that's plugged in nice in there. We'll take this plug, plug it in here. Good, let's see what this motor sounds like. It sounds broken. It's not working. Of course it's not working. Probably why it's left out. Okay, now I gotta figure out what's wrong with that motor. I had this one lying around, so I didn't label it, so I have a labeler now, so I'll use my little labeler to label it and then use that as another example of a shitty motor. All right, one more motor. One more up my sleeve. Feel like a pick and pull in here. Like an army of dead roasters. Ow. There we go. Okay. Here it is. Here's motor number 2. Let's put that one in. Before I even go back, I want to make sure this one works. Doesn't sound crazy. There you go. That's what a decent one sounds like. They're actually pretty good. All right, so we'll install this one. Let me unplug this for safety. We'll do some other modifications as well to make sure it's safe. Let me grab a fan for it. Just bought a whole bunch of fans. Where are they? That might work as an example. All right. So while that's out, I put the motor back in. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna put this onto here. We'll pull that out. It goes in there. I'm gonna put a fan in there. So normally I'd get a 24 volt version of this fan. And I'm just gonna slide it like right into here. Thicker side is always where the air comes out of, usually. And it should just slip right into there, just like that. Then you have a fan that's blowing cool air onto that heat sink. Also, what might be a good idea too is creating a few holes right in here, just so it has outside air, which is usually colder, coming in to cool off the heat sink. I don't recommend putting the fan, because someone showed me they put a fan like in between the slotted area, like where the relay is at, using like a 7mm fan. Like they wanted people to wedge it in between there. So I just so happen to have one, but they're kind of telling people, oh, you should try doing this, where you would wedge a fan in between the relay and the heatsink like that. And then you would put it in a diagonal and it would hold it there. I can't really fit it because I have my heatsink thing on there. And it would be kind of like, looks like this. Think of a smaller fan, but it would fit like as a diamond shape right there. Right next to a few places that draws a lot of concern for me. And that's mains. So you should always treat mains like it's gonna try to murder you. So I never want anything to like be a fan where it's like moving around in a position where it's like not bolted in or screwed in. Because if you were to put something next to mains and jostles around and it somehow touches things, or you just always plan for the worst things to happen. Usually if it's done around the main side, and when I mean mains, I mean like that's where like you plug into the 110 volt outlet or 220. This is where all that kind of occurs. I always try to keep a lot of things as separate as I can when it comes to like higher voltage and low end voltage, like DC and AC. So I know people are saying put a fan here, it'll hold it, it's fine, it won't go anywhere. If you want to do that, that's great. It saves you what, one screw. I'm just a fan of just maybe 3D printing out something like something out of ABS from a friend, never PLA. Have somebody, we probably know somebody with a bamboo printer that can print you out this little thing for like 10 cents. And it goes on the opposite side. It goes to the side where you could like drill a hole and it could draw cooled air in. But yeah, it's always up to you where you want to put your heatsink fan on. And that's mostly for 110 volt machines. 220s I've never seen have like the thermal runaway issue, which is why we install these fans on there. So I don't think if it's a big of a deal for 220, but for 110, I always recommend putting in a heatsink fan to prevent thermal runaway. And it's in an overabundance of caution, just because now the newer people that are having it, they're not doing this mod. It's working just fine. They're not having any of those thermal runaway issues anymore. They just have their machine shut down at a certain temperature, which is fine. But for me, in terms of what I know and the safety of this machine, I would just say put a heatsink fan if you can, but don't feel like you have to if you have a brand new unit. I always err on the side of caution. So, all right. So I got the drum motor out. I put that back in. I put this fan in there. I'm gonna wipe this down. There's a lot of oils around it. So, and you'll notice sometimes, like if you're running really, really hot, like say you did like 5 back-to-back rows, and you notice that there's a lot of oils coming out of the motor, you're more than likely running it super hot at the motor, to where the oils, I have no idea what the oils are rated for, and what their viscosity is, and what temperature that they start to like liquefy at. But I'm pretty sure it gets hot enough in there to where the motor is so hot that it like just literally just overheats and causes the oil to drip down. So you got to be kind of cautious about that, amongst other things. So we're going to clean this off. Doesn't look like too much oil is coming out from here, which is a good sign. And I don't see any drip marks. So that means that most of that oil that you see on the coffin is from the motor. And like I said before, I have no idea what motor oil or what grease they use in the gearbox, but it does have a tendency to drip down if it gets too hot. I think the intended way they wanted everyone to use this roaster is you do one roast and you're happy. You don't do back-to-back roasts. You don't have long warm-up times. You do maybe like a 5-minute warm-up. You do one roast at 450 grams and then you're done. What a lot of people have been doing, and it's not, out of fault to them, is they're doing a lot of back-to-back roasts, which I think they should be able to do it. But there might be like a certain way you have to go around doing back-to-back roasts. In terms of having the machine and the motors especially cool down. I almost considering we should probably do like a community open letter to send over to the OEM, just to kind of state like, hey, this is kind of happening a lot. For a while you were the cheapest, name in the game. Now you have things like Kaleido dropping down their prices, trying to match you guys in terms of like pricing. I'm not saying that they're going to copy them one for one. I'm just saying they are lowering their prices. You're not going to have no one's going to be buying those $1,000 M1 Lite or M1 Pros, 1,400 or something crazy. Now they're selling at a really good price of $699. And I'll admit that those roasters are pretty good. M1 Lights, I think, are pretty fantastic for new roasters. They did do some questionable, not really questionable. The only questionable thing they really did, changing from the 1 Pro to the M1 Lite. So the M1 Pro to the M1 Lite is they dropped the motor size. They went from this like kind of bigger motor to the smaller one, and they moved away from brushless. So it's not as efficient as a brushed motor, or not efficient as a brushless motor. The brush motor in the M1 Lite is definitely smaller. It fits a little better, but it's also, we're unsure about the torque and how well it will do under like back-to-back roasts. Heat is the killer of all things when it comes to these machines. All right, let's put this motor back in. I'm going to take this out. This is actually a 12-volt motor, so I'm going to pull this out. I just want to show you what this, what I'm going to use that for. this out real quick. I'll put a fan in there later. I know I have more of those 12-volt fans somewhere, or 24 volts. A lot of chaff I got in there. There's just like this stupid hole right here I want to cover up. So if we look over here, there's a little opening. A lot of the chaff kind of blows up in towards that area. There's like this hole. I'm gonna put this back together. Put the motor back on first. This is doing wonders on my back. Very, very important that you do put back the ground wire. So if this machine somehow grounds, I keep checking if I unplugged it. Ooh, almost got lost in one of those holes. Good. Oh wait, I was supposed to put the green wire in. Actually, I'll put it on the top one. It doesn't really matter where you put it. You just gotta make sure that it's there, attached to this metal part. And this metal part is probably connected to all the metal parts to the body, which is why they want the grounding piece right there. Good. All right, that's back in there. We'll try to tighten these out a little bit. Speed this up. All right, now here's the fun part of putting it back. So make sure to put the controller board in back. I'm actually gonna put some new screws in. You don't have to do this part, but I bought some on Amazon. I wanted to replace everything that had Phillips and then use hex instead because it holds better. So you can buy these like self-tapping screws on Amazon that are in hex. One's M3. One's M3 self-threading, 10 millimeters long. I haven't even opened these yet. They're basically the same screw. I prefer hex when it comes to screwing things in off or screwing things onto objects, because the threads did usually don't it doesn't usually strip at the top like when you overdo it. Come on. There you go. So we'll just grab 2 of these. It even comes with these little bits. I'm very happy about that. I always lose these bits, so thank you. Thank you so much. All right, a little tip if you want to get that in there. So what you want to do is you kind of want to line up the controller board and the USB port, and then you could use that USB port to kind of hold it in place in a sense. Be careful, of course, because you do have a chance of breaking the USB board port. I'm gonna go the other side because it's always a pain. I'll try to go low. Go low, 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 low. Ah, there we go. So what I'll usually do is I'll try to use that port to line it up. Oop, it disconnected, so. Or I'll just kind of line up the holes. Better just to line up the port to the holes. Good. So I'm lining up this port. I'm gonna put this little USB slot in there just to kind of hold it in place in a way. Kind of move it around till the hole lines up. All right, there's a little something in the way. There's probably a wire in the way. Yeah, there is. Very nice. All right. Good. All right. So now it's in place. I'll take this out. Line this back up here. Oh, I also wanted to do some testing. Okay. Oh, sorry, my big back. I'm doing some testing as well. So I'm going to add like a separate probe over here. I'm going to put it down in this area. Cool. All right. So now I'm going to get some Captain tape. I'm going to put a probe on the drum motor and I'm going to do some, just some temperature measurements. What this is going to help overall in time is like, how hot does that motor get? And if it gets point to where it's super hot, maybe we should consider using a fan to cool it off. Like if it's really just a fan that all we need is to cool off the motor, then that might be a good thing to use. Maybe give it some more life. So I'm gonna put some Captain tape on there. I think that's how you'd say it, Captain. So this is some Captain tape. You don't need to do this. This is just for my testing. very sensitive to the amount of oils is on there. So I'm gonna put another piece of tape over to overlap and kind of make sure it holds it down really well. All right, so I'm really just putting a probe onto the body of the drum motor and just seeing how hot it's getting. That's all we're doing. We'll put this back. Should be good. Should probably clean this little hole. Looks filthy. Oh my God. There you go. Could snort that if you want, I guess. Don't snort it. This is why you also need to do upkeep on your V1. So this is one of the 30-day return policy people. So they ran this real good. I doubt it's the way that Akimata imagined how people would be using this. But they really thought. I think overall they really think that people were just gonna go use this like a home roaster, like use it every once in a while, once a week or something. Use it once, maybe like once a day. Didn't expect people to do like back-to-back roasts. They also probably didn't expect people to put their own firmware on it and run it on Artisan as well. Let me go back the other way. No big backing. Put those back in. I'm only gonna put like a handful of them back in. I still gotta open this up later and then take that probe out and then put a new fan in. Top one, put one on the bottom, and I'll put this other thing back on. All right, so, oh yeah, I gotta put this one back on. Right, so that's basically what I'll put back together for now. Let's start this up. I'm gonna grab my my testing unit. So today we'll be using the M5 dial, and we'll also be utilizing the wireless probe attachment. Bear's wireless probe attachment. This guy. Wait. That guy. Until Bear gives me a new picture, I'm just gonna keep using Mega Man Coffee Bear drinking coffee. All right. So let me plug this in over here. I really shouldn't hook it up like this. Should be good. Just take out the little covering. But this will work for now. Whoa. Cool. All right, I'm gonna get a little battery pack for this. This is my little tester probe. We're gonna see how hot this motor gets during a normal roast. Let me get my battery power bank. What's left? 47%, that works. Take it. Let me get my M5 dial. All right. All right, so I got this. So this is the M5 dial, my external, or pretty much our only external controller option that we have right now. It works for the Q-Bean and the Skywalker. Always holding my breath the first time you turn it on because you don't know if it's gonna start or not. All right. First, before I do that, I gotta plug this in. So this is also the thermal probe that works with the M5 dial. This is a wireless thermal probe. I'm gonna make it more wireless real quick. You can actually use this to attach as your environmental probe if you really wanted to. I use it for testing stuff, but if you wanted to like add a probe, but you don't want to, you know, attach it to the ESP32 already set and you want to leave that alone, or you just want to add something you could float around that's kind of wireless, then you could use this like little setup. And this actually uses a thermocouple. And there's firmware where you could replace this to measure the beam temperature, like beam at the BT instead of the ET. Not necessary, but it is fun. So we're going to warm this up. I'm going to get us on high beam because that's my favorite roasting software as at this time. Let me plug this, not plug it in, but get this on the computer. There it is. All right, so we are using the iOS, right? We're using iPad. Let me see if I have any questions. You could do it. I did. Did I do it on? No, that was Artisan I did on Linux. You should ask Will to put it on Linux. I'm pretty sure he'll try. I think it should work too on Linux. I can't remember if it does, but I did Artisan on Linux. Artisan on Linux was kind of a pain in the ass. Oh wait, no, that's Sky Command. Nope, go back. 5 dial. Okay, so it's 29 degrees. We're gonna add the PT. Hopefully it works. I was hoping I wouldn't have issues. Always something. Okay, let me try that again. Okay. All right, that sounds good. Dang. All right, my environmental temperature probe's not working anymore. What can I do? Let's see if I have another. Actually, I should see if all the connections are correct. So we got ground, VCC, blue is SCK. Let me go refer back to Bear. So I got Bear been helping a lot on this. I just got to make sure I put all the connections in correctly. Oh. Small couple. External temperature probe. me look for the external probe on Discord. External probe. Okay, here we go. No, that's external probe SO to 4. SO orange is 4. SC is 5 to 5. SCK is 6. Those are all connected. Ground 3 volts. That looks good. I wonder. It's just this thing. See if I plug it into my computer. Was that it? I wonder if I broke that probe. Let me see if I can reinstall the firmware. I'm just going to reinstall this firmware by Bear. Is that not detecting it anymore? Let me see. Okay. Connect, install. Zero, okay. So now I am just reflashing the firmware base. We'll see if that works. We'll see if it works. If not, I don't know. I'll probably just roast with it anyways. Go. Firmware complete. I'm going to plug it back in. And we'll see if it worked. Okay, I think that worked. Yep, that worked. So I just had to reflash the firmware. Lucky me, yay! All right, so I'm gonna switch over the this parts. You should see the temperature drop. I'll be big mad. See if I can disconnect it. So we'll go in the debug mode. Oh, there you go. We're gonna go debug mode. And then we're gonna see how it pops up. Should turn blue. There it goes. Nice. There it is. 27.4. All right. So we got 29.8 degrees. And that's at the motor. Let's turn this on. We're gonna do a roast. We're gonna see just how hot this motor gets. I'm gonna get it up to 205 while the drum is on. And we'll do some fan too. The fan is pretty weak on this, so while this happens, I'm just gonna turn this on. We'll put all the things on that should be on there. Ooh, ooh, ooh. We got issues. What was that about? That was interesting. That's doing that. I don't know what that is. Let's see if there's any errors coming through. So this is probably a bad board. Yeah, that's got to be a bad board. Actually, let me double check something. It's doing it on that side. I could try replacing the power supply and seeing if that works. That's a fine. So it's turning on and off, on and off. The board's shorting for sure. Let's see if it's the fan that's shorting it or the drum. So right now it's not shutting off. Usually what we're hearing was like a turn on, turn off, turn on, turn off. I'm gonna turn this drum motor back on. It's probably gonna come back. It's getting hot in this thing. I'm gonna take this thing off. Well, it's not happening again. So I think I gotta clean off the board. I'm pretty sure there's like oils or something causing a short. So I have to order another board for this. There we go. Oh. And breathe. Well, it's not happening now. Another thing is I did have this really close to the power cord, and sometimes those things get a little funky in terms of connection. That's why they always want it away from the whole area. Well, the electromagnetic. I could just talk it. I'm just coping. Alright, so let's see how hot this motor gets. not happening. One thing I really know that I changed is I moved this away from the cable. This cable right over here. Once I moved that away from it, that's a lot of interference issues were happening. It was going on and off. And that's because I'm pretty sure the signals and everything were getting all mucked up in there. Especially when this unprotected ESP32 S3 is right next to this electrical cord and everything. I think the noises get a little bit too noisy for it. That's my guess, because right now nothing's happening. All right. So I got a few units. I have a few units of these units I'm sending out. I actually I'm actually doing a mod for the M1 Lite. It's going to be like this 3D printed thing where you hook it onto the back of the fans by magnets, and it blows out all the chaff into it. They're selling them on Kaleido for like $40 for the M2, but they never made one for the M1 Lite. So I'll make one for the M1 Lite and attach it on and see how it works. My whole goal is to get it like under that $40 price range, where maybe it takes like $10 to print out and then buy the magnets. We'll see how that works. I don't want to sell it. I just want to put the files out and everyone build them themselves. I think building it is way more fun than buying it from like somebody like me. That, and if you do want to buy a better version, you can always buy the espresso outlet version. So everybody wins. So right now, 190, we're going to look at on this part. So 190 degrees is the bean temperature, and then 53 is an environmental temperature. It is the temperature of the drum motor. Right now it's humming along. We're at 54 degrees Celsius. That's not bad. It's actually, this is running a lot cooler than the drum motor of the worm drive. A little embarrassing, but gear ratios and all that make a big difference. It's picking up a little heat. So let's see if it gets up to those temperatures. I was getting 100 a few times. So let's see if those are just a fluke and maybe good motors just stay under 100. Okay, 1108. So let's see. $67 degrees, so it's picking up some heat. All right. So when we're monitoring ET, we're just making sure it doesn't go over, like, hoping it doesn't go over 80 degrees Celsius. Well, 90 degrees Celsius. Although there are stepper motors that can go up to 150, 120 degrees Celsius, depending on the environment they work in, but they're different class of motors. really temperamental when it changes. Like I can hear the drum go off a few times. Kind of concerning. That's been a few minutes. We'll say start preheat. This thing's hot. Let me move this. How's it? Okay. Let's go find a bean to put in. All right, so we're hitting 82. I haven't put a load in, so we're gonna see how hot this gets after back-to-back roasts. What bean do I want a back-to-back? I think I'll do a geisha. A geisha with some no, I should do this. I need to get rid of this Timor-Leste one. Do some good mediums on it. Small, bro. Yeah, I did fine last time. I always get worried it's gonna get stuck. Do the rest of this Finca Milan. So Columbia Finca Milan April, passion fruit, mint, and apricot. Oh, maybe I'll try to do. I'll do one set of this. That way that we've been trying. A lot of mixed results with it. Some people are getting muted flavors when we're maxing the plateaus, and some people are getting all the flavors. So it's hard to judge whether it's a good technique or not. I think I'll do 300 this time. I'm gonna change it up. I still want to plateau a little bit, but we'll see. Smells good though. And like I've told people, I've seen this motor go over 100, so no, we're just preheating. It's been a little bit since we've been preheating, but still, it's still reaching up to those temperatures I'm a little concerned about. I'm really hoping they don't know if I want to waste this much beans. If I have another bean I want to get rid of. Nope, I want that pea berry. I like it, the pea berry. All right, we're gonna try this Bourbon Arabica. Must be some kind of hybrid. All right, let's put this back here. thing. So this is 261. Release this whole thing. 109, 110. This motor's getting hot. All right. Actually, I'm gonna turn this heat. Look how hot that motor is getting. That's 111 degrees Celsius. That's a hot motor. I definitely don't think these are rated for that type of heat. Not with that plastic inside. 112 degrees Celsius. Just picking up heat. $113. If you're just got in, bean temperature is the bean probe, the standard one. Environmental temperature probe right now is a thermocouple connected to the drum motor. We're looking at the temperatures right now of what's going on with the drum motor when you're running it on one batch. And the motor is getting to 115 degrees Celsius. I don't think this motor is safe after 90 degrees Celsius, much more 115 on the body. Why that's a big concern. Where I have it at right now is kind of like close to the gearing area where that plastic motor is. And like I showed right before, that thing will have the ability to strip and get soft over time. Like right now, I feel like if I were to put the beans in, it has enough torque to slow it down to where it'll start stripping the gears. Okay, we're reading 117, so. This is interesting. This might be a unit I'm going to test out. I already have the probe in. I think I'm gonna start testing out ways to putting a fan just on the drum motor and seeing if I can't cool it down that way. Right now it hasn't, the heat hasn't let up. Now I'm trying to just dump all the heat out of it. I did. Have you had a chance to roast up the peach and cup the peach, the co-ferment? I did. I did it with my Nano 7 and I did it with Skywalker. Had similar results with both. One of the things I noticed when I was cupping it, I'm not gonna, fuck it, let's go cup one right now. Right now, I'm not gonna let it roast with that drum temperature at 121 degrees Celsius. That's insane. It's not letting up either, which is the crazy part. I actually also was doing the Edwin Noreno stuff. I have the apple coming in today, and when I get the apple, then I'm gonna start bagging it all up for people. Right now, I got a few bags on the floor, and this is the coffee I'm talking about. We'll let that cool down. Yeah, this is the one from Edward Noreno, and I just got them in like Johnson and Johnson's like little Ziploc bags. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna just let that cool off, and I'm gonna get the I'm gonna get my X Bloom ready. I'm pretty sure I gotta refill it. Also, I'm gonna do the same motor test on a M1 Lite. I'm really curious, and I want to compare it with the M1 Pro, and just kind of see what those temperatures are looking like in terms of how hot that motor is gonna get. Because it's still 120 degrees. That is wild. I'm gonna turn it off and see if that like drops the. Yeah, it's fucking hot back there. Unbelievable. So I'm gonna back this stuff up. I'm actually next roast I'm gonna drill some holes. I'm gonna add a fan. I'm gonna add a fan to where just right here. Drill some holes back in here, and then back in this area underneath here. And I'm just gonna have like a fan just blow air into there. It's not gonna get into the chamber. I'm gonna use the USB-C port. I gotta figure out the command for that one though. I forget which command it was. Are you adding in the cost of shipping to? Yeah, I will give you a quote on the shipping because it's going to be like, for some people, they're ordering like 5 or 10 pounds. Someone wanted 5 pounds of the apple and then 5 pounds of the peach. So I am going to, I'll add the shipping onto there. And there will be a day I'm gonna start roasting all these co-ferments. I'm glad I didn't roast that today. I would have panicked seeing the drum motor that hot. There wasn't even a load of beans in there. I got that hot. That's ridiculous. I'm kind of surprised that the M1 Lite has a smaller motor now. I would think they would skip that other motor because it was doing fine and it fit. I might look for the brushed equivalent of that motor and try adding it into the M1 Lite. This out. I'm gonna fill this back up with some water. I think I need to make a sign up sheet for this group buy because I already forget how many the amounts of people want. I ordered more because there was like I lost like 20 pounds in like in almost like less than a week or less than 2 days or 3 days. 3 days. I think 3 days is when I finally ran out. I got to get my I got my cupping mug. Very special mug.